My, how times have changed. What up, guys? Total Control 871. I believe we were rudely interrupted the last time I was trying to blog about this particular topic. I guess I'll just simply pick back up from where I had left off. Let's see. Set the black lighter right there. Stay, boy. Stay. Alright, so last time we were talking about the cell phones, prepaid cell phones. We're talking about the economy. We're talking about providing affordable housing. Talking about how I, homeless or quasi-homeless, semi-homeless, whatever you want to call it, am able to afford the things that I have. What I'm trying to explain to you, to express to you, to get you to understand is that you have been conditioned into paying fantastically high amounts of money in rent. I honestly don't think that you do give pause to exactly how much money you're paying every single month. You point out how, oh shit, I don't got them on the bike right now. I was going to point out the GoPro cameras. They're being charged right now. But you point out things like the GoPro camera or this old ass phone that I'm talking to you on, and you use that as your criteria, as your, for finding it so incredibly hard to believe that I could possibly be homeless or, in such financial dire straits. However, none of these things come even close to 1 month's rent, let alone an entire year lease. So this is what I'm trying to get you to understand and get you to wrap your head around. You have been conditioned into paying fantastic amounts of money for very little. Let's see. When I was crashing with a buddy, this guy made some pretty good money. It was like $90,000 a year. And like I said, I used to collect action figures. There was a particular brand of action figure called Hot Toys, 1/6 scale. This was back during the Dark Knight craze, Batman, Scarecrow, all that jazz. There was a combo pack that came out of Batman from when he doses the Scarecrow with his own hallucinogen, and he sees Batman as a ghoul, kind of like a ghoulish face. So there was that, and then there was also the Scarecrow himself that was offered as a 2-pack, $500 for the box set. And you might say that is completely crazy and psychotic. Why would a homeless person, although I was renting with him, I had a room to rent. Why would somebody of that particular economic status, level, class, whatever you want to call it, why would they spend $500 on 2 action figures? Because it made me happy. Because it made me incredibly happy. And I think that's also what a lot of you are missing in a lot of my blogging, that the meaning of life, the purpose of life, it is to be happy. The people here that work here, when I worked myself for 30 years, it was a lot of life energy, life blood that was spent for making a corporation such as this one incredibly wealthy. And, well, we see where I'm at, you know, homeless and on the street. Yet my life's blood, you know, went to make this corporation incredibly wealthy. So happiness is ultimately the ultimate goal in life. Whatever that spells for you. Then you start getting into things like what is your concept of happiness? What makes you happy? Is it truly your concept of happiness, or is it something that's been provided to you? I could totally segue here into a what is this guy's name? He's a rapper. He married a Kardashian. Shit, I'm sure you guys probably are all saying it like right now. Kanye West, there you go. The Kanye West, what was it? He incredulously said that he wants to be able to provide name brand clothing, hip-hop name brand clothing to all the school kids so that they can feel good about themselves, because when he was coming up and blah 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 and sob story how he didn't have the kind of clothing that he felt would give him confidence and make him happy in life. Now, I don't live Kanye West's life, so I really can't say but so much, you know, it is just my opinion. But I truly believe that that type of mentality, not just simply Kanye West, but that type of mentality, it is something that has been grafted onto the urban black youth. It is something that, you know, that's been provided to you. Occasionally, I will catch urban black youth glancing down at my boots. And occasionally they'll ask me, who wear them? Who wear them? I'm wearing them. I understand what they meant. Athlete, celebrity, Michael Jordan type thing, you know. So it was their way of like gauging me, you know. Should they they didn't know whether to scoff at them as being I don't know, whatever they call it, knockoff or whatever, or to aspire for it. And I could segue right there into what was this? I saw Black Panther. Everybody's raving about it. I am not. The bulk of this movie did nothing but depict black people fighting amongst themselves. And in the end, we see black people, young black people, in awe, awestruck over glitz and glamour. And, you know, basically the hover car or the flying spaceship is nothing more than akin to a Mercedes-Benz in real life that the drug dealer would have. And I get it. One is a vigilante superhero, one is a drug dealer. That's two different things. The point is that you've actually done nothing to change anything. All you've done was just simply, you know, nose urban black youth away from one thing to another, and you're still providing these urban black youth with a concept of happiness. Gene Roddenberry, Star Trek. This is what he actually meant. It's an exploration of yourself. You need to go and find out what makes you happy. So many. Come on, let's look at this right here. Beats, from what I understand, what was it, Dr. Dre, and then I think, was it Apple that purchased it? The name branding, that's what made it a desired product. It wasn't the actual quality of the product or what have you. It was just simply the concept behind it. And once the branding had latched, you know, like hookworms into the mind of the urban black youth, and therefore it goes from there. All right, I want to get back to what I'm talking about here. We saw what happened with the cell phone, the cell phone epiphany. That's what I like to call it, the cell phone epiphany. We had an instrument of the rich brought down to the little man. It was still pretty pricey, $300. It wasn't as big as you would think. It wasn't the big, it wasn't that big. It was about the size of a cordless phone from the late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, early 90s cordless phone, we'll say. About the size of a cordless phone. And it could do nothing but send a call, receive a call. It did have caller ID, though just the number, no names or anything like that. It had only one ringing tone, so that's all this thing could do. And like I said, it cost $1 a minute to use, $60 per hour. And but it very quickly came down. I think it came down to 60 cents, then 40 cents, then, by the time it was like 40 cents, track phone had already started flooding the market, stuff like that. Point is that we saw what happened. This tool of the rich was put into the hands of the poor. Oh, also what I also want to say. Oh my God, let me see. Hold on, I gotta check how much time I got here. 10, 11 minutes, 10, 11, 12 minutes. All right. Her name was Irma, and I rented with her for a few years. One particular, she had a job at the Trump Plaza, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Trump Plaza for many, many years. And she would go to work, and this is way back in Bush Senior. We're talking Desert Storm had just wrapped up, and economy was in the shitter. Very, very difficult getting a job. I think I spoke about the album before, Sade's Love Deluxe, especially the song Feel No Pain. Man, very powerful, very powerful. And now, because I don't want to paint poor Irma, Lord rest her soul, she's gone on to glory now. I don't want to paint her negatively. She was a parishioner of a church that I used to go to, kind of like a Pentecostal church. Long story. Anyway, and in this church there were a lot of, I guess, for the purpose of this conversation, we'll just say a lot of recovering addicts of both alcohol and drugs. As far as she knew, when I came into the scene, I probably was just another one of those alcoholics or what have you. So as renting the room with her, when she would go out to work, she would, remember now, this is very early 90s, it's like 92, 93, and she would keep her landline phone locked up in her room. Again, I'll say it, I don't necessarily blame her. God, she didn't really know me like that, So, but the point is that I'm saying about that is that I didn't want you guys thinking, you're making a near minimum wage job and $300 on a phone and it costs how much per hour to use? Now you know, or at least I hope you're beginning to understand. Those were the days where you beat feet to get a job, and God knows I always did my best to hold down a job. Oh man, there were times when a benefactor would stick a $20 bill in my hand, and oh my God, that was a reprieve. It was then a matter of how much to spend on something to eat, and then you had to pinch away bus fare. Long before the days of the Black Rider, there were bus fare to consider, something to eat, and of course you struggled with filling out the phone number box on the application. Where can these people call you? Where can you be at? And a lot of times, because she would go to work, and there might not necessarily be an answering machine. Like I said, it's very early 90s. Unfortunately, I would have to quite often leave phone numbers with people where the home was a little chaotic. We'll just put it like that, and you might not get your messages. So there was a great need. There was a great need for this. I might not have been a businessman. I might not have been a corporate CEO. I might not have been the kind of person that hops on jets and whisk away to to exotic locations and must be in contact with the firm. Who was I? I was just a guy that was desperate for a job, a minimum wage job. And I was willing to do just about everything I could to make sure that those opportunities could always get a hold of me. So yes, I did not use money for drugs. I used my money to better myself. I'll never forget the first time my phone rang on the city bus. Everybody was looking at me. Oh my God, I hurried the person off the phone. And after the very brief phone conversation was over, everybody was just looking at me, And then you would hear, like, off in the distance toward the back of the bus, front of the bus, I need to get me one of them for emergencies. And of course, they weren't using it for emergencies. They are the emergency. They are the drama in life, Obviously, gossiping on the phone, a lot of strife. You ended up opening, these phones would import emergencies into their life, therefore needing the police, and now you're getting arrested, and now you got fines, and da. So for a lot of people in the wrong hands at that time, the phone was a gateway drug to the criminal court system. Okay, so hopefully I have communicated to you a little bit more about my life and how I conduct my finances, the things that I have, why I have it, and to all of you out there who are in a position of great power. See, now it really can get really Illuminati, because, like I say, wealth, it's all conceptual. That guy that I was telling you about made $90,000 a year. His wife chewed his ass. There's a backstory to it, but his wife chewed his ass because he bought one too. He bought a set too. As a matter of fact, we used his card. Now I immediately paid him back in a week. I gave him the $500 back, so it wasn't a matter of him not getting his money back. But all this wife saw was $1,000 made payable to a toy store. Like I said, we contributed to each other's delinquencies so bad. So bad. But it made me happy, and he would get, I don't think he'd ever want to admit it, but I think he was jealous of me. I think a lot of people, believe it or not, are jealous of me, and it's not just particularly me. I have seen a type of envy, of the homeless. We have so little, and by default, we're responsible for so little. This man had mortgage, utilities, although both of his vehicles were paid for, but I think later on he did end up having to buy a new vehicle, which was a car note, and now he's got kids, and then you got to talk about college funds and the whole damn shebang, and you always got to keep money in the bank. He's a homeowner, and if you are a homeowner, you are going to want to have at least $10,000 liquid in the bank account, because you never know when something is going to happen. The foundation, the storms, the roof, And if you sit around on your ass waiting for the insurance, you know, and of course insurance companies are getting very, very cute in their language these days. Your home will sit and deteriorate while you're waiting for the insurance. So you need to be able to act and move yourself rather than, you know, and then file and get reimbursement. All right, I don't know, you might still think me to be a bum, you might still think me to be a liar. I have no idea what you think of me. But I'm a person that I'm struggling to have a place to live, to have normalcy in my life, and if you would just simply make it affordable. And I understand that if it were made affordable, then there are so many out there who are putting up with so much shit. The people who are critiquing me, I suppose, the people who do you know, critique me and say all these things about me, they would begin to question their existence, their life. You know, why am I going through everything if it's so now affordable? Hey, you're the one that got on that hamster wheel. You know, so much of the population has been suckered into giving so much and getting so little in return, and they just don't stop to think, you know. So alright, I've gone on long enough. Hopefully you guys understand a little bit better. Alright guys, that's it. And what can I say? Affordable housing. It could be the next cell phone epiphany, if only you would allow it. Total Control 871.